This is a stimulus update. In this video, we'll talk about what are the executive actions President Trump is going to take next now that the Republican skinny stimulus bill did not get enough votes. Also, we'll talk about the current rental assistance programs. I hope you're having a great day so far. So yesterday, the Republican skinny stimulus bill did not get enough votes to pass in the Senate. The Republicans knew this was going to happen. The Democrats knew this was going to happen. You and I both said that this was going to happen. So this is no surprise to any of us. But there's a couple of different narratives that came out of it. Either the Democrats blocked the relief bill or the Democrats opposed the bill. Either way, it depends how you look at it, whether you're for Republicans or Democrats. But either way, it was a 52-47 vote, and they did not get the 60 votes that was needed to pass the bill. They got their 51 votes. The only Republican who voted against it was Rand Paul. So they had their votes. But regardless of whether this bill passed or not, this kind of played into the hands of Republicans, saying that we tried to pass a stimulus package, but those Democrats denied it. Now, the big question here is whether this stimulus package was going to help out Americans. It did not have a stimulus check in it. Right after the vote, President Trump said, right now, the Democrats don't want to pass it. They don't want to help, really, the workers of our country. They didn't deserve this. This was given to us by China. Then he says, but Nancy Pelosi and Schumer don't want to pass a stimulus because they think that helps me in the election. I don't think it helps me at all. We are prepared to pass stimulus for people that need it. Later on in the video, I'll go over what are the actions that President Trump said he's going to take in regards to passing a stimulus package without Congress doing it. And right after the vote, Democrat Chuck Schumer said the cynical Republican bill was emaciated, inadequate, and designed to fail. Americans need help now, and Congress needs to respond in a way that meets the nation's very real and urgent needs. Then Republican Senator Charles Grassley says, my guess is as of now, unless House Speaker Nancy Pelosi changes her mind and talks to the White House, there's not going to be anything done. Then also another Democrat Senator, Patty Murray of Washington, says, now that this exercise is over with, I hope that rather than throwing up their hands and calling it quits, Republicans will instead finally start bipartisan negotiations on policies that meet the urgency of this moment. And then Senator Marco Rubio, Republican, says, I think they've decided that if things go bad, that the president and Republicans will be blamed, and it will help them in November. Will help them win in November. As long as they believe that, we're not going to be able to work on anything. So we see here, we're constantly getting this blame game between the Republicans and Democrats playing their election game because they're walking on eggshells right now with elections only less than 2 months away. And now that it's less than 2 months away, they don't want to make the wrong move and lose their job. So what these politicians are most worried about now and what they care about most is re-election. They could care less about the American people. At least that's what they're showing. And yesterday I asked, what do you think about these actions of politicians? So Heather Brissett says, both Democrats and Republicans can care less. This is sickening. Clearly, they don't want to send us anything. I agree with you, Heather. The way that their actions are playing out is showing us that they could care less about the American people and they're just playing politics as usual. Then Shelley Simpson says, some way the Republicans, Democrats can come to agreement, no more time off and take their pay away. I wish they could be stripped of all their money, homes and cars, and have them live like us in the general public. I agree. I think if they lived among the American people and saw how everybody was suffering, then they might actually do something about it. But for them, it's not a big enough sense of urgency. They're more caring about their vacations and their re-election because oddly enough, October 12th, they're taking another 1 month vacation and they're actually having another 2 days off at the end of September. They're getting a 6-figure salary, taking months of vacation off during a crisis and a pandemic when most Americans need their help the most. So where does this leave us now? I'll talk about President Trump's executive actions in a minute, but now that Congress has failed, both Republicans and Democrats, to come together and pass a stimulus package, we're not going to get a stimulus package or stimulus checks the right way, the comprehensive way, without the help of Congress. Now with Congress out of the way, we have to rely on President Trump's executive actions. President Trump spoke about this last week saying that he has $300 billion and that he can give out stimulus checks. With $300 billion, what we could get is a $1,200 one-time payment to Americans, just like we did the first time around. And President Trump is saying that there is a theory that he doesn't need the approval of Congress in order for him to send out stimulus checks. Also, according to Fox, the White House is also looking at other executive actions as well. So he wants to address the airline layoffs and possibly give the airlines a bigger boost. Also extend the federal unemployment aid. Now, President Trump, if he is able to come through with stimulus checks as well as the federal unemployment boost, and he's able to extend that, I think that could potentially help his chances for re-election. It shows that Congress is a mess. They're not doing anything to help the American people. And if President Trump could come through right before the election and send everyone stimulus checks, I think that'll give him a much higher chance of election. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Do you think President Trump taking action on his own will help his chances for re-election? The big question, though, is whether President Trump could actually send out stimulus checks on his own. So he was able to find a loophole with the unemployment boost by getting the money from FEMA, and was able to pay out up to 6 weeks, up to $1,800 for a lot of different states. Also, he was able to extend the eviction moratorium, or create an eviction moratorium through the CDC. So he was able to find loopholes in order to get things done. And I'm hopeful that maybe he might find a loophole to find stimulus checks for the American people, since he's said so many times the past few weeks and months that he wanted Americans to get stimulus checks. Moving on to unemployment. So there are 3 states that have officially ran out of funds for the unemployment boost. That's Texas, Arizona, Montana, and basically every state that applied has been approved, with the exception of Nevada and South Dakota. South Dakota is opting out. And as you can see, a lot of the states that are in yellow aren't paying yet, but fortunately the ones in green are officially paying as of now, at the time of watching this video, paying out their $300 to $400 per week. But according to FEMA, the states in the yellow, FEMA said that they will have enough money for their unemployment boost for at least 6 weeks. Another executive order by President Trump, which is the payroll tax deferral program. It is officially mandatory for 2.2 million federal employees and military members. So if you work for the federal government, or if you're a military member, by the way, thank you so much for your service, you are officially on that payroll tax deferral program. If you're not familiar, what that means is you're going to get 6.2% in your paycheck up until the end of 2020, and then the first 3 months of 2021, you will actually have to pay 12.4%. So the way it works is up until the end of 2020, every $1,000 you make, you're going to get an extra $62 in your paycheck. The first 3 months of 2021, for every $1,000 you make, you're actually going to have to pay $124 in your paycheck. So it's kind of balancing out. You're either getting it now and you're paying it back later. A lot of people that I asked in my comments said that they would not like to participate in that program. And unfortunately, for federal workers and military members, it is not an option to opt out of it. If you are working in the private sector for a private company separate from the government, then you actually have a choice to opt out of it if your employer gives you that choice. Also, in terms of rental assistance programs, the governor of Hawaii just announced a $100 million program to help out people in Hawaii for rental assistance. So you could get up to $2,000 per household if you live in the city of Honolulu, or you could get $1,500 per household if you are in different counties of Hawaii, Maui, or Kauai. Also, residents in Riverside, California are eligible for $3,500 in rental assistance. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest rental assistance programs, I have this spreadsheet here. It's down in the description below. Once you get it, it's completely free. Every time I add new information to it, you'll see it as long as it's connected to the internet. Also in Maryland, they just got approved for $16 million in rental assistance for the entire state of Maryland if you live there. And that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Unfortunately, there is no tip of the day from Bella today. I wasn't able to get that from her yesterday, and I make these videos at 5 in the morning, so I apologize for that. I'll make sure that Bella is in the next video. But if you want to get 2 free stocks, you can sign up through Webull and Robinhood down in the description below. And if you want to watch a video of how to get started in the stock market and learning the 5 strategies you need to know before even investing a single dollar, you could click this video over here. It's on my second channel, Why Cents. Or if you want to learn more about second stimulus checks, you could click this playlist down over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.